Hi everyone. In this video, I'll talk about why I chose the KTM 250 Adventure over other adventure bikes or motorcycles in the similar price range. The options in front of me were the Adventure 250, Royal Enfield Himalayan, Yezdi Adventure, and the Honda CB350 RS. The last bike on this list might confuse you as it's not an adventure bike. I included the Honda because I loved the way it looked and the way it drove. I'll tell you why I decided to eliminate the Honda later on. It's time for a small story which is about my first bike purchase and why I moved to an adventure bike from a street sport bike. If you wish to skip this part, you can use the chapters or check the description for timestamps. My first bike was the Gixxer 150, which I fell in love with after I had a test drive. As with any motorcycle, I learned about it and understood about it over the years. And I've always been impressed with the handling of the Gixxer and how it made me feel so confident to take corners, which I used to be scared of. I still have that bike as I find it hard to let go. Anyway, while going on long rides, I found the bike to be cramped and I had a hard time riding on it with a pillion. It was also difficult to spend long hours without taking adequate rest once in a while. I also faced issues with the wind blast and crosswinds on highways. These are some of the reasons I wanted a bigger bike with a relaxed and commanding seating posture. And you might have guessed, I wanted something taller than the usual bikes. I still enjoy riding it and I prefer it over the KTM on twisty roads and maybe on crowded roads as well, like city roads. We will talk in detail about the bike later on. During December 2018, my wife and I went for a trip to Meghalaya. There we rented a Royal Enfield Himalayan and the both of us fell in love with the bike. I especially loved the way the bike handled bad terrain and how easy it was to maneuver in broken roads with boulders and through rocky terrain. However, I had two gripes with the Himalayan then and now it has increased to four. The two things that were personally bothering me were the disappointing brakes, which might have been okay once I started riding it and probably changed the brake pads or something. But still, I felt them to be mushy and lacked bite in many situations, and it has not been rectified even now. I'm not entirely sure about the 2022 model, but I did try out the 2021 model and I could not find any improvement. The second thing for me is the tank cutout. I'm not talking about the pannier carrier up front, which they have reduced in length, but I'm talking about the tank cutout, which seems to leave me with painful knees, as my knees rest on the area where the tank cutout is made. There has been no change of that and no one I talked to have had any problem with that. The additional things that bothered me were the reliability issues that many were facing with the Himalayan and the cold nature and attitude of the customer executives in most of the Royal Enfield showrooms I visited. I also understand that it takes quite some time to get the RE bike serviced. These were the things that made me cancel the Himalayan plan. However, I was still searching for solutions to my problem, as I did love the Himalayan even with those flaws. Then came many bike launches and I was keeping a keen eye on the BMW and KTM. I rolled out the BMW G310 GS because of the cost of maintenance and spares. And I don't prefer to own something based on the value of the badge it carries. I also could not fathom the idea of traveling 200 kilometers or more to get the bike serviced. I'm not saying I don't like BMW as a brand. In fact, I've been a fanboy of BMW from my childhood. But I've just outgrown those feelings of being a loyal follower of any brand. After KTM launched their Adventure series, I was skeptical about getting one as I had no experiences with the brand before, nor have I heard anything directly from anyone. Around the time I was still deciding between the Himalayan and the KTM, Honda launched their CB350 Highness and soon followed with the CB350 RS. I do like classic looking bikes even though I never liked the Royal Enfield Classic for its lack of refinement. A point worth noting is that now Royal Enfield classics are really refined. Anyway, coming back to Honda. I loved the bike after taking a test ride, but I hated all those chrome, which is why the RS launch came as a welcome news for me. So I was almost fixated on the CB350 RS, reading a lot about it and trying to find out how the bike was in the long term. At the same time, I was thinking why I'm going for this one if I'm essentially having almost a similar riding posture with the Gixxer. I still felt cramped and wanted to extend my legs after riding for a while. I personally felt that the front end was amazing and responsive. However, the back end of the bike did not move around that smoothly with the responsive front end feel. Essentially, the bike felt back heavy, which I did not like on some occasions. I did love the brakes on the Honda though, it was fantastic for the bike. All these made me rule out the Honda, but it still had a place in my mind and heart. This is when I started considering the 250 Adventure. I rolled out the 390 Adventure since I thought it was an overkill for me. I also came to know that my friend purchased a 250 Adventure, so I took his bike out for a ride, which is when I made the initial review of the bike on this channel. I was all set on buying the KTM and thinking and researching about it, and that's when Yezdi came out with the Adventure. A friend suggested I try out the Yezdi. I did enjoy the ride like the Himalayan, but there was one thing which bugged me, which was the seating position. The foot pegs are high and the seat is lower compared to the KTM, which means my legs were cramped. I didn't like the instrument cluster as well, so I bid adieu to the SD as well. Before deciding on the KTM 250 Adventure as the one to go for, I did a test ride of the CB350 RS once again and the 390 Adventure, since the showroom did not have the 250 Adventure test bike. I just wanted to confirm the sitting feeling and the way the bike handled, which was why I was okay with the 390. Well, that's how I decided that I should go with the KTM 250 Adventure. If there's one takeaway I would like to offer the viewers, it would be to have a test ride of the motorcycle or any of the vehicles you have shortlisted for purchasing. If you have the means to rent or borrow a vehicle, go for a long ride to see how it feels. Have patience and make your selection wisely. Thank you for watching. I hope this made some kind of sense to you as a viewer. Stay tuned to know my experience of the 250 Adventure so far. Wishing you the best on your rides and drives. Ride safe and enjoy.